Have you ever wondered why old houses always have the mirrors covered when someone dies? It's not just an old superstition, it's a quiet acknowledgement of what mirrors actually are: storage units. They don't just bounce light back at you, they trap fragments of whatever stands before them. Catoptromancy, the ancient art of mirror divination, suggests that our reflections aren't just optical illusions. They're echoes of the soul, stretched thin across the silver backing. If you want to see just how thin you can be stretched, there's a ritual called the Sovereign Trap. You don't need much, just a windowless room, 2 high-quality mirrors positioned exactly parallel, and a single candle. No LED lights, no smartphones, just the flickering flame. When you stand between them, you create a corridor of infinite recursion, a dark emerald tunnel that goes on forever. But there's a rule you need to remember. The rule of 7. The theory is that the first 6 reflections are biological. They're just you, or at least parts of you. But the seventh is the primary. It's the original weight of your soul. And if you look at it too long, it might decide it's tired of being at the back of the line. Whatever you do not blink when you reach the count of 7. I didn't believe it at first. I stood there, the match head scraping twice against the box before the flame finally took hold. The room was cold, not air conditioning cold, but the kind of stillness that feels heavy on your skin. I began the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the beginning, everything seems normal. It's just you, repeated over and over into the distance. But then you start to hear it, a low-frequency hum like a distant power transformer vibrating through the floorboards. By the time I reached the 4th reflection, I noticed something off. It was subtle, a microscopic delay. My reflection's chest stayed expanded for a fraction of a second longer than mine after a breath. A latency of barely 1/10 of a second. That's when the Troxler's fading kicks in. If you stare at one point long enough in low light, your brain stops processing unchanging stimuli. The edges of the room began to dissolve into a muddy gray, leaving only those recursive faces floating in the dark. I could taste copper in the back of my throat, a sharp metallic tang like I'd been sucking on an old silver coin. The air was changing. It felt used, as if those other versions of me were breathing up all the oxygen before it could reach my lungs. I looked at the 4th reflection again. I looked away. It didn't. The dread started to settle in around the 5th count. The room was freezing, but the 5th reflection was covered in sweat. I could see the steam rising off its skin, and a rhythmic mist began to fog the inside of the glass from the other side. It wasn't my breath on the mirror, it was its breath. My features in the 6th mirror started to drift. It's a terrifying thing to watch your own face lose its symmetry. My eyes seemed to slide toward my temples, and my mouth stretched into a line that was far too wide to be human. It looked like wet clay struggling to maintain a shape. Then came the sound, a second heartbeat, thrumming through the soles of my feet out of sync with my own pulse. It sounded like a muffled hammer hitting wet wood. Thump, thump, thump. The smell of ozone filled the air, sharp and abrasive like burnt dust on a heater. Every breath I took felt like I was inhaling powdered glass. My eyes were stinging, begging me to shut them, but the rules are clear. You cannot look away from the corridor once you've started. You have to see it through to the end. I forced myself to stare deeper, past the melting faces and the fogged glass into the absolute darkness where the 7th should be. The silence between 6 and 7 lasted an eternity. Then I saw it. The 7th reflection. Mathematically, it should have been showing me the back of the 6th's head. That's how geometry works. But it wasn't. The 7th was facing forward. It was standing there, perfectly still, staring directly at me with eyes that were far too sharp for the distance. It wasn't blurry like the others. It was high definition, more real than the room I was standing in. My eyes were locked open, burning with exhaustion, but I couldn't move. I was paralyzed by the impossible geometry of that face. And then it happened. While I was staring at it, my eyes wide and unblinking, the 7th reflection performed a slow, deliberate blink. The sound was what broke me. Not a scream, but a high-pitched ring, the sound of a vacuum. Felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room in a single gasp. I heard the glass creaking, a deep structural groan as if the mirror was under immense pressure from the other side. I realized then that I wasn't the one looking into a trap. I was the one inside it. The 7th wasn't my reflection. I was its. I felt a sudden violent urge to run to break the loop before the thing in the seventh glass could step forward. In a blind panic, I kicked the candle over. The flame died instantly, plunging me into a darkness so thick I could feel it on my skin. I didn't wait to see if the glass shattered, I just ran. It's been 3 days since that night. I haven't looked in a mirror since, but it doesn't matter. The ritual didn't end when the candle went out. Everything feels heavy now. When I reach for a glass of water, there's a tiny sickening delay between my thought and my hand's movement. It's as if I'm pushing my body through thick, invisible water. I feel cold all the time. My skin feels smooth and hard, like polished silver, and whenever I speak, I hear the faint, crystalline sound of glass shattering in the back of my head. I'm starting to realize that the me that ran out of that room isn't the one who walked in. I'm just the echo now. I'm the reflection following the movements of a primary I can no longer see. I'm acting a fraction of a second late, playing a part that's already been decided. So here's my advice. Tonight, when you go to brush your teeth, take a good look at yourself. Don't just glance. Really look. If you feel like you're waiting for yourself to move, if you catch your eyes shifting just a split second after you think they should, then you'll know. The seventh has already won. Sweet dreams.